Hey beautiful babes, welcome back to my YouTube channel. People all have different versions of you in their head, right? Like people have a version of you, whether that's 5 years ago, a year ago, 3 months ago, and that version of yourself may no longer exist. And that's why it's so important to just stay true to yourself and realize and recognize that honestly the only opinions that matter about yourself is your own, because no one else is living your life. When you have a past of being around toxic people, having toxic relationships, toxic friendships, work environments, whatever that may be for you, and you start to change and heal and grow and develop, you're not always gonna be around those same people anymore because that version of yourself no longer exists. I don't know, it's like totally okay, and don't ever let anyone tell you that it's not or make you feel guilty for that, you know what I mean? Because I really realized this in the past couple years, and it's quite interesting too. People will become triggered by you changing because you no longer fit the narrative that they have in their head of you. You no longer fit that role, or you are no longer having unhealthy boundaries with people. And so when you're a recovering people pleaser, you are no longer disrespecting yourself. When you are no longer making yourself uncomfortable to make other people comfortable, when you are no longer keeping the peace because keeping the peace is a trauma response, when you are no longer doing those things, or you are no longer being able to be manipulated in any kind of way, there are going to be people that are triggered by that. And I feel like that's a really good indicator when you start growing and healing and changing. The people who are around you and continue to cheer you on versus the people who are offended by it, get angry at you. Those are not those are not good people to have in your life. I think that's a really good clear indicator of people who benefited from you not having boundaries, benefited from you always being there and always being the helper. See, for me in my past growing up, I was like many times the person that people went to whenever they had issues. And when I was younger, I didn't have good boundaries, and I would constantly be the helper, the healer of people. But when it came time when I needed somebody, no one was around. They didn't return that same thing because one, they aren't capable, and two, they're using you for your energy and time. But no one in any relationship should constantly be your personal therapist, right? Like that is why we have therapists and mental health resources. Now, that being said, it's totally okay to have friends and people that you need an outlet, you need to talk about things, but it shouldn't be a constant theme where every single time you communicate with someone, they're constantly emotionally dumping on you, but never returning the same energy or the same time and attention to you. I think that's a really good clear indicator that they're using you for that. And everything deserves equal give and take. All relationships deserve equal give and take. Now, of course, there's gonna be moments where it may be one person giving more like at a different time, but it shouldn't be all the time. And there's this weird thing when, you know, people pleasers or people who didn't have good boundaries start healing that and stepping into their power and who they are and being firm on that. It's really quite interesting, this feeling of guilt, right? Like you're gonna have this guilt, or you're gonna have this transition moment where you're like, is this selfish? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? And like, yes, you are, because you never took the time in your life to have boundaries and to not disrespect yourself, to not give when you didn't have the energy to give. Healthy love, healthy relationships, healthy friendships are never gonna make you compromise your emotional, mental, or well-being. Never. They should never do that. This turned into a little lecture. This is a really good indicator of real friends, real relationships. I know people talk about how when bad things happen in your life, that's a good indicator of how people respond to that. But it also is when good things happen in your life. I think it's so important to see how people react and respond to you when good things happen in your life, right? Like if they don't congratulate you, they downplay your accomplishments, I will never understand jealousy ever. Like, I will never get it, because no one is you. Like, no one is you. No one knows what you've gone through. Just because something looks like a certain way on the outside doesn't mean somebody has incredibly hard, difficult things that they've been through, or problems in their current life. I think it's so incredibly interesting how people judge people based off their appearance, based off what they have, based off what they see. But people always show, like me right now, me filming this is not what I looked like when I woke up in the morning, right? Like, just because like I talk about these things doesn't mean that I've had my struggles too, or that I currently have struggles. Like, we're all human. Things always happen. And I will never ever understand jealousy, ever. Like, and another thing too is, I know people talk about a lot, well, if somebody's in a bad place, then they don't have the room and space to be happy for you. I don't think that's necessarily true, because I've been through incredibly dark things, and even when I was in those places, I could still have room and space to be happy for other people, because I don't compare myself to other people. Why would I do that? You know, like, our journeys and our lessons are all uniquely tailored to each individual. You know, why would I compare what's going on in my life when it has nothing to do with another person? You know, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. And so I think, like, jealousy and underhanded comments, like when people joke about things, there is always truth in every single joke that someone makes about you. Another good thing is, you should never, like, gossiping about other people is a total waste and drain of your energy. And I truly believe when you're focusing on that, like, whatever you believe in, everything holds energy. Like, everything is made up of energy, even scientifically. And when you're constantly, even your brain, right? Like, you're wiring your brain over and over and over again to be involved in any sort of drama or gossip. That is a waste of your time and energy. And when you constantly are doing that over and over and over again, you're gonna attract people who thrive off of drama and gossip. And you ever thought about, if you're sitting around with people gossiping, those people are probably gossiping about you too, right? If they're gonna sit there and waste their time talking about other people's lives, they're probably gonna turn around and do it to you too. You know, when you hone in your energy and you focus on yourself, on your healing, that's gonna turn outwards into your life. The more that you heal on yourself and the more that you love yourself, therefore it's then gonna reflect outwards. Like, our internal worlds always reflect outwards, right? Like, have you ever noticed when you're sick and you don't have the energy to clean your room, or to do the dishes that day, or to go to work, right? It's like, then your room is messy because you don't have the energy. Or when you're focused on other things, like, it's just like, how you're feeling internally is gonna affect your external world. Not even just physically, like relationships, work environments, people. You know, when you're in toxic friendships and relationships, you may be drawn to toxic work environments. And you are too amazing and hold so much power and here to do so much more than gossip or judge. Because anybody who gossips or judges or has harsh judgments and critiques of other people, that's because they're incredibly critical of themselves. So many things are reflections. And there are going to be people triggered when you're healing and when you're moving away from relationships that never gave you the energy that you deserved, or didn't respect you, or weren't there for you. Yeah, there are going to be people who are triggered by that, but that's not your responsibility. Another thing is, anybody else's emotional well-being and happiness, you are not responsible for. You should not be the sole reason for someone else's happiness or emotional well-being. That is their responsibility. We all are responsible for our own well-being and our own happiness and fulfillment and emotional well-being. Right? Like, all day I could say this person did this and that person did this. And in some cases, that's incredibly true, because there are some cases that things happen against our will. But in cases where that is not the case, I could say that all the time, or I could not let certain things affect me because that's what they want, right? People who are looking to put you down, looking to gossip, looking to whatever that may be, they want to feed off that energy. Like, they literally thrive off seeing other people feel sad or feel affected by it in some way. And so not feeding into that, that's exactly what you should do. And sometimes that might make people even more mad, but that's not your problem. Yeah, I feel like that was a really good message for this week, and I feel like I really wanted to chat with you. Let me know if you kind of relate to this, if you've experienced this. You can always message me on Instagram, or you can comment, and I will never judge you. This is always a safe space. I always want this to feel like a safe space, because I feel like conversations like this are incredibly important. Go out there and do whatever the heck you want to do, because it is your life. Nobody else is living your life, and nobody else should. Nor should they tell you how to live yours. You deserve the very best.